Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the 21 Yard Line podcast. This episode is NFL Week 11 edition. I'm your host, Max Mustaine, here with
Patel.
And Vamsee, Vemana.
And today we have a special guest speaker, Evan Kudla. So we're going to start off this episode by taking you through all of Week 11's games. Then Evan is going to come and talk to you about the top 10 receivers in the NFL. Then we'll end up with some red zone and some hot takes. All right. So the week started Thursday night with the Cardinals versus Seahawks. The Seahawks take down the Cardinals 28-21. My personal opinion is that the Seahawks defense did not look terrible this game. Kyler Murray did have a bit of an injury, but he should be fine to play. And the Seahawks run game looked a bit better.
Yeah, penalties killed Arizona. It stopped a bunch of their drives and gave the Seattle offense one more shot at the end zone.
For me, I think the Seahawks defense obviously played better against a pretty good offense. I think Russell Wilson's back in his stride. I feel like he's probably not going to win the MVP because of his little debacle he had a couple weeks ago, but I think he'll be back. All right, moving on. Steelers, Jags, 27-3. Steelers won that game. I mean, I think the Steelers got the AFC North on lock. And the Steelers wide receivers are pretty good. Max?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the Steelers defense is dominant. They had 4 INTs. I know it was the Jaguars backup, but still, defense looked good. Juju had a minor injury, but he should be all right. And 10-0, man. First time in history for the Steelers.
Steelers defense is probably the best defense in the league, and I think Deontay Johnson is the primary receiver, but every single receiver on the Steelers are very good. Moving on to Patriots Texans. Texans take down the Patriots 27-20. I think it's a loss for the Patriots, but Josh McDaniel and Belichick are taking this team who are 4-6, and I mean they're 4-6. They should be they should only have 2 wins, and right now they're 4-6. So even though they lost, still a very well coached team.
I think the Patriots are in a weird spot right now. Cam's looking better, but the defense doesn't have many starters because they all opted out. And for the Texans, I think Watson's like their entire offense. And so I don't know if he's going to stay, but I feel like they really need to help him.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think Watson looked dominant. He played great, but I think one issue with the Patriots is maybe they have too many running backs, especially with Sonny Michel returning next week. They have a lot of running backs, and they haven't really picked one to go with. But moving on, we have the Titans versus the Ravens. This game was a great game. Went into overtime, and the Titans pulled ahead, winning 30-24. So I personally think Lamar Jackson has regressed a lot. I think he has the Madden and the MVP curse. But another player who hasn't regressed is Derrick Henry, who continues to dominate. And at this point, I don't know if the Ravens, Browns, or both of them will be in the playoffs or none of them.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson has regressed very, very regressed, and he's losing a lot of connections in the air, including the Hollywood connection. He did find Mark Andrews last game, but Hollywood is still non-existent.
Yeah, I think just as a lot of people said, the NFL defenses would have all of the offseason to figure out how to stop the Ravens, and I think their one-dimensionality has caught up to them. And I guess Malcolm Butler still plays in the NFL. Eagles Browns 22-17. Browns won. Not very interesting. I personally think the Browns have given up on Baker. I mean, he threw 0 touchdowns, 200 yards. I think they're trying to hide him. Max?
Oh, yeah. I think for the Browns, they just have 2 great running backs right now and just don't really need to throw the ball, especially on a team that's as bad as the Eagles. I think the Eagles are terrible. Carson Wentz looks terrible, and I don't know if he ever was good, and maybe he was just faking it.
Yeah, Browns defense without Garrett does a good job defending Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia sticks with Carson. They gave up a lot to move up in the draft to get Carson, and I think they're not gonna move away from him this quickly. And I think he's still gonna be their quarterback. Moving on, Lions Panthers 20-0. Panthers win. It's just the Lions are horrible. I really don't know anything else to say. Stafford was injured, Golladay was injured, Swift was injured. But so was, Panthers quarterback. PJ Walker comes in and has a great day, and I think that just the Lions are just a bad team.
Yeah, I mean the running game was not that good for the Lions, and I don't know if I feel like this might be Matt Patricia's last year. He came in, defense isn't that good, offense isn't good, so
Yeah, Lions just got outplayed. They looked terrible overall. Swift is more valuable than I once previously thought. I thought the Lions already had good running backs, but it turns out that Swift is really going to be the lead guy moving forward, which I guess is an upside. But yeah, Lions look terrible. Panthers looked all right. Moving on, Falcons versus Saints. Taysom Hill made the start. Saints get the win, 24-9. I think Taysom Hill did all right. He got him a win, which is good, but I think I would still go with Jameis Winston if I were the Saints. And Falcons just didn't look good at all. So that's it.
Yeah, Falcons definitely have the right pieces on offense, but not the play call. They're 2 for 14 on third down, and it was like as the Saints knew what they were going to do. And for the Saints, they got depth. And Michael Thomas is back on track, 9 receptions, 104 yards.
I mean, I think the Falcons have to tank at this point. Julio's injured again. The only positive, I guess, is that they only allowed 24 points to a Saints offense, which I think is probably one of the better offenses. Moving on, Bengals versus the football team. 20-9, football team won. Well, Joe Burrow tore his ACL. Really unfortunate. But that O line can't block, so it was gonna happen eventually. He was gonna get hurt. Obviously not happy it's an ACL, but and hopefully the organization can now realize how much of a vital piece Joe is to the team. And I think that FedEx Field is cursed. First RG3 back in the day, then Alex Smith, then Kyle Allen, and now Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Washington, they won this game. They're in the playoff race for in the NFC East, but they didn't deserve to win this game. You know, they only win because Joey B gets injured, and yeah.
Yeah, I just gotta agree with you guys. Prayers up for Joe. You hate to see that. Washington defense looked all right, I guess. That's one upside for them. But other than that, nothing much. Moving on, Chargers barely. They get ahead of the Jets. Almost came back and win, but Chargers win 34-28. With Joe Burrow's injury now and Herbert playing lights out as he is, I think Herbert is a clear rookie of the year. And Chargers offense looks dominant. Defense gave up 28 points to the Jets, so take that as that is.
I mean the Chargers almost blew the lead, so but even though the Jets are bad, I think they really played a lot better than people give credit for yesterday.
Yeah, definitely the first time they scored 4 touchdowns, and Herbert did amazing. And the Jets played a really conservative game in the first half, and I don't think you should be doing that if you're 0-9. The Dolphins Broncos. The Broncos defeat the Dolphins 20-13. The Dolphins can still make the playoffs. They can still get Tua that playoff experience, but Tua did get hurt, and Ryan Fitzpatrick did throw that game losing interception. And Drew Lock is still the man. I think he has a very young receiving core, and he can only get better from here.
Oh, yeah. I think the Broncos offense actually looked decent this week. Their backfield is good. They have two strong running backs, which is good for the Broncos, but bad for fantasy. Dolphins O-line couldn't protect Tua, and you saw what happened to Joe Burrow. We hope that doesn't happen to Tua. So,
I mean, yeah, all I gotta say is the Broncos got two really good running backs. I felt like they started to force feed Gordon a little bit because they paid so much money, but yeah. Moving on, Cowboys Vikings 31-28. Cowboys won. I mean, how about them Cowboys? Um, but I don't know where the Vikings are. I mean, they beat the Packers, and now they're losing to the Cowboys. So, interesting spot.
Yes, defense made a couple of key stops, one fourth down stop, and fumbles. Cowboys had some conversions on fourth down, and Zeke topped at the 100 yards for the first time this season. So it's definitely looking better for the Cowboys.
yeah, game was really capped off by two great catches, both by CeeDee Lamb and Adam Thielen. I'm gonna give Adam Thielen a little bit of a better catch, but both are crazy. Uh, Cowboys, you hate to say it, but they are in the playoff race, and Vikings are, yeah, a very interesting team. They've been losing to bad teams, winning against good teams, so we'll have to see. America's game of the week, Packers vs. Colts, definitely lived up to its name. The Colts take the win in overtime against the Packers, 34-31. Rodri Goat Blankenship picks a game winner. And Jonathan Taylor is back to the head of the running back committee for the Colts. So if you have him on your fantasy team, that's good to see.
I mean, the Colts almost beat themselves, but luckily the Packers were there to beat themselves.
Yeah, Packers definitely shot themselves in the foot. 8 penalties, 116 yards, and you cannot do that against a talented team like the Colts. I think the culture is starting to look legit. Philip Rivers is doing a great job right now, controlling this offense, and their run game is starting to get going, and their defense is obviously a very good defense. Chiefs Raiders Sunday night showdown. 35-31 Chiefs win. It was a shootout at Allegiant, and I think Pat Mahomes is a clear MVP. They obviously drove down the field in 1 minute 16 seconds, takes the lead. I think both of these defenses had major breakdowns in the secondary because they couldn't get any pressure going. 0 sacks for both teams. You need pressure. If you don't get pressure, there's going to be secondary breakdowns.
Yeah, this is definitely a shootout. I think this rivalry will continue to show to be one of the best rivalries in the upcoming years, and Chiefs offense just looked unstoppable.
I mean, the Chiefs are really good, but I feel like we should give Raiders also a lot of credit. I mean, only losing by 4 to a really good Chiefs team, and they've already beat the Chiefs once and the Saints once. I think the Raiders are sleepers this year going into the playoffs.
Definitely agree. Now we're going to bring on our special guest for today's episode, Evan Kudla, and he's going to go through the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL right now with us.
All right, so you guys know that receivers are a crucial part for a team to win the Super Bowl. If a team does not have good wide receivers, they are not going to be a contender. So for my number one receiver, I have Davante Adams. What a beast in Green Bay.
Yeah, I have Devontae Adams as my number 2 guy, but I think D-Hop just gets him. I think D-Hop is a little more talented, and so that's my view.
Devontae Adams has been doing a great job this year. The games he has played, he's been lights out.
I agree. I have to agree with Evan actually here. I have Adams 1, D-Hop 2, just because I feel like the Packers like to force feed Adams to get him going.
Yeah, so we all agreed on our top 1 and 2 being Davante Adams and then Hopkins. We either had them 1 or 2. And then for 3, I had Stephon Diggs. I think he's had a great year, especially after regressing last year in the Vikings. I think Josh Allen and him are making some really good connections.
Yeah, I've Stephon Diggs a little lower on my list. I'm not quite sold on him. I think he may be just having his Josh Allen connection is good, but I think Keenan Allen's connection with Herbert is a bit better. So I have Keenan Allen as my number 3.
I also have Diggs as my number 3. I think he's the best route runner in the NFL right now, and he's doing a great job on the Bills. This Josh Allen Diggs connection is unstoppable.
No, I have to agree with Max. I have Allen 3, Hill 4. I think just being on that Chargers offense, being a lot of passes with a really good rookie quarterback, I think Allen gets my 3rd spot.
Yeah, so for like my 5 and 6, I had Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen. You guys seem to have them a bit higher, but I just think they're not quite as good. They get either shorter passes or Tyreek Hill, he just doesn't get the targets. And then for my number 7, I have DK Metcalf. I think he has star potential, but I think he's had some drops that have hurt him.
Yeah, I agree. I have Metcalf a little just about that place on my list. He's still second-year player, so we're not quite sold on him. He does have, my opinion, number 2 quarterback in the league throwing to him, but he is a beast and scary on the field, so that's for sure.
Yeah, I have him at number 7. The games he's done poorly on are the divisional games. The divisional games are the ones that matter the most, and he's been dropping a lot of catches. He's been playing very badly, but he will definitely get better. He's inevitable.
I have DK 7, Lockett 8, and the only reason is because both of them are really good wide receivers, so I feel like they're going to be competing. And I feel like you could switch them back and forth, either putting Lockett 7, DK 8, but I think they just take points away from each other, so that's why I have them pretty low, but still in the top 10.
Yeah. And then rounding out my top 10, I have Julio Jones at 8, DJ Moore, a surprise pick at 9, and Michael Thomas at 10. These are receivers that either haven't lived up to the hype. They basically haven't lived up to the hype this year, but hopefully can do well going into the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I have Julio and Mike Thomas both on my list. Julio's a bit higher, Thomas in the same spot. I'd like you to take me through your DJ Moore view, though, because I do not really see where you're coming through with that one.
I just see him as a great vertical threat, averages 18 air yards per target, and he just has so many receiving yards. I think he's like the 5th highest. So I think that if he just gets fed the ball more, he could have potential to make a lot of big plays.
Another player on your list that I didn't notice that I think he's my number 5 or number 6 guy right now. I think Allen Robinson should definitely have his name in the hat for top 10. I think, especially with the bad quarterback play, and he still is producing at a high level. I think Allen Robinson is an elite wide receiver.
Yeah, I see Terry McLaurin on your list. Terry McLaurin's a great player. I have him on my list too. Actually, through 24 career games, he has more receiving yards than Jerry Rice did. And this is with the quarterback issues. I think he's a young player with star potential.
I gotta agree with that. He is pretty scary, but I think he's just really young, so we'll see where he goes.
All right, we have a couple minutes remaining, so we are going to take us to some hot takes. We are in the red zone now. All right, first hot take I have for you guys. The Cowboys, they have the easiest remaining schedule from the NFC East teams. Do the Cowboys make the playoffs and win the NFC East?
Yes, they make the playoffs. Every single NFC East team still has to play the Seahawks. Some of them have to play the Saints. They got very hard schedules. The Cowboys are going to do it. Andy Dalton is looking better, and their defense is making plays.
I say yeah. I say they're probably the best team out of the NFC East. Although I don't think they've played up to it, but I think they're still the
Yeah,
best.
they're all garbage. But
Yeah, I think they'll actually make it. I originally didn't know if they could do it, but after getting Andy Dalton back, they have some playmakers that I feel like the other teams just don't have. So with their easy schedule, I think they can pull it off.
I'm going to disagree. I think Danny Dimes is going to take the New York Giants to the playoffs. That's my prediction. All right. Another take I have for you guys. As of recently, the NFL has been implementing a lot more 4 o'clock games than 1 o'clock games. Last week, they were actually split in half. As frequent football watchers, do you guys like to see more 4 o'clock games and a spread out, or do you like that packed 1 o'clock schedule?
I like that packed 1 o'clock schedule. It's definitely something that I look forward to. When I'm watching a Lions game, when it's halftime, I like to watch all the other games, highlights or whatever. I don't like this 4 o'clock because I don't know. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I usually like my 4 o'clock games for my game of the week, so I don't really like to care about other games. So I like packing the 1 o'clocks.
I actually like the spread because I like having to watch two different 1 o'clock and two different 4 o'clock games. Sometimes like if there's only one 4 o'clock game and if sometimes it's not as good, I won't be as excited.
Yeah, I think just because of tradition, I'm going to have to stick with having the loaded 1 o'clock schedule. It just feels wrong to have too many 4 o'clock games. Moving on, I'm going to have you guys pick your 3 to make the playoffs in the AFC wild card. Right now, we have the Titans, Browns, Raiders, Ravens, and Dolphins. Personally, I'm going to go with the Titans, Raiders, and Ravens. Those 3 making the playoffs.
I go Titans, Raiders, Ravens also, but I do think Dolphins have a chance of making the playoffs. But right now, I think the Titans, Raiders, and the Ravens can get better, and I think they will make the playoffs.
I gotta go Titans, Raiders, and Ravens. Yeah, I mean the Titans are a good team. The Raiders just barely lost to the Chiefs, and I mean the Ravens are struggling, but I think they'll be able to get back on track.
I think the Titans, Raiders, and Dolphins are going to make the playoffs. I don't think the Ravens are going to this year. I think Lamar Jackson has just regressed too much. I don't think he's contributing at a high enough level.
Moving on, some rookie quarterbacks. Burrow just got injured. Herbert's looking great, but who else is looking great? Trevor Lawrence. So who would you rather have for your franchise? Herbert, Burrow, or Lawrence? Go.
Definitely Herbert. I mean, you talk about rookie quarterbacks. They have a big tendency to make mistakes. Herbert has not made that many mistakes. He's been throwing touchdowns. He's been finding connections. I think he's just a great quarterback and with a very bright future.
I have to disagree. Burrow has less picks and a worse team, and he's just there with with Herbert. So I'm gonna have to go Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I'm also going to have to go with Joe Burrow. I think what he's done is impressive, especially for a not so great Cincinnati team.
I'm definitely picking my boy Herbert. Love that guy. But we just have a couple seconds remaining, so we are going to shoot through these last couple questions. Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson moving forward? I'm picking Kyler. Go.
Definitely Kyler.
Kyler.
Who will win the NFC West? I am going to go with the Cardinals.
I think Seahawks. Cardinals have to fix their penalty problems.
I'm going Rams.
Yeah, I'm going Seahawks as well.
And finally, your Monday Night Football. Rams or Buccaneers? I think the Rams take this one.
I think the Bucks take it. It's gonna be a defensive first half, but it's gonna open up for the Bucks, and it's gonna be 34-17 Bucks.
I think Rams taking this one by a blowout.
I think Rams are going to win too. I think Darrell Henderson's going to get 3 rushing touchdowns and take control of the backfield.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because you're
Darrell
fantasy.
Henderson.
Okay, that's because you're fantasy.
Just watch, guys.
All right, guys, that is it for our podcast this week. Make sure to tune in next week at the same time. Remember to subscribe and leave us a like and a share. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
All right, guys. See you next week.
All right, guys. See you guys later.